You say you have commitment issues, right? But what if I told you commitment's not the thing you actually fear, and that it's actually trusting someone again and being let down, right? It's handing your heart over again to someone and getting the same result that you got before that you swore you'd never repeat because it was so painful. That's not the fear of commitment at all. No, that's the fear of betrayal, disappointment, abandonment. So let's unpack the difference and how to break out of that space if you're in that space. See, the truth about commitment issues is they don't just appear out of nowhere, right? They are born through experiences, right? So if you've ever been lied to, cheated on, or left suddenly or without closure, then your brain learned to not attach too quickly. And that's not dysfunction, that's protection. The problem though, you start pushing away real connection even when it's healthy, right? You ghost them, right? You start ghosting the person you're seeing, or you downplay your feelings, even though you're really into them. Or you say things like, I'm not ready, when in reality, you're just scared to open up again to be hopeful that this could work out, that this one will, pan out the right way and won't get you burned and hurt like you did in the past. See, it's not that you can't commit. It's not that at all. It's that you can't trust someone holding your heart and not dropping it like the last person did. That's the part that stings the most inside of you and has you the most apprehensive. It's not the committing to that other individual. It's what comes with the commitment, right? That may land you in a painful space as a result of committing to the wrong one. And you start to realize it's not commitment that's your issue. You have a trust issue, right? And the fear of trust starts to show up whenever you start to lose interest in the person you're seeing when things start to get real, right? You were all about them. It was all great whenever, you still had more ownership of your heart and it was less risky, right? You were less invested. But whenever you start getting close to crossing that threshold where you have to be vulnerable and give up a certain level of yourself and invest it into the relationship or into this person, now you get apprehensive. Now you start finding reasons in your mind to delay it or say it's not the right person or this doesn't make sense or this isn't the right direction to go. Whatever you need to do to avoid having to truly open up and trust that person. Or you'll wind up only choosing people who are emotionally unavailable, even though you say you want someone that is emotionally available. Why? Because that feels safer. Because you'll never truly commit to someone that can't, bond with you emotionally and can't open up that way. But it's safer and it's easier to you, at least it feels that way, because their lack of emotional availability allows you to still enjoy them for however well you can without there being any real connection that gets your emotions too tied up, because they're not available enough to get you caught up emotionally. So you get to sit in this kind of safe space in the middle to where it's comfortable, but it's not actually what you want. Or you flat out sabotage the good ones, because if you leave first, they can't leave you, right? You don't lose, right? You don't take the bad end of the deal. You get off scot-free, or you still get to keep your power, right? This delusion and this lie you start telling yourself. But see, the thing is, this is not about you being cold or careless, right? That's not the intent at all. No, it's your nervous system saying, let's not get hurt again. And it's trying to protect you. Your mind and body's job is to keep you alive, to make sure you survive, not to help you thrive. That's your job, right? So it's going to do its job. And if you've gone through a really painful experience and your mind notated the reasons why you went through that painful experience and it being someone in your past, and your body notated the way you felt in that situation, then they work together and say, hey, whenever we see a situation that looks familiar and feels familiar to the way that last situation was before it got bad, then whenever you see it, you go and you feed her or feed him the stories and the narratives that says this doesn't make sense, it's not going to work, something's off, something's wrong, you shouldn't open up or whatever, or drive him or her towards entertaining a person that's not available emotionally and all the things. And energetically and physically, your body says, got it. While you do that, I'm going to go and make sure that it feels uncomfortable to open up to this person. It feels wrong to, try to connect and be more vulnerable, right? I'm literally going to make you feel bad for it, right? Because your mind and body is trying to protect you. They're trying to keep you from repeating something that may ruin you, right? Because your mind and body don't have the awareness that you do, that this person could be different and this person could be healthy. It's not the same as before. But unless you consciously raise awareness to this, then your mind and body will be in the driver's seat and you'll become their passenger versus driving the vehicle in the direction you actually want to go. So how do you start healing that trust wound? Well, the first thing you got to do is stop labeling yourself as emotionally unavailable. See, your subconscious is designed to realize whatever narrative or belief you want to believe about yourself and whatever you say about yourself. So when you use certain words, certain phrases, certain labels to define yourself, then your mind and body have no choice but to give you what you ask for. Okay, you're the boss. You tell us this is who you are and what you believe. We'll guarantee and make sure you only live in a way that will not be emotionally available, right? You'll always be checked out or always, be distant or you always be, broken or whatever the case is. But here's the thing. You're not broken at all. No, you're cautious and you have every right to be given what you've gone through. But notice I said you're cautious, not guarded. See, a lot of us emotionally and internally, we're cautious, but the way we show up externally and tangibly is in a very guarded way. See, you can't be guarded. You only want to be cautious because when you let yourself become guarded and you stay guarded, staying guarded will not make you safer. It'll just make you lonelier, right? Because you can't fully connect and bond with someone else if you're not willing to take off your armor and open up to let someone in, right? It's one thing to move with awareness and intelligence and the knowledge from what you've experienced in the past and move appropriately and notice things that don't make sense and red flags and make your adjustments accordingly, right? That's caution. That's moving sensibly versus just having a wall up and being guarded and defensive to someone that you don't need to defend against. Doing that just becomes self-sabotage, right? And it's this thing where when we have wounds that haven't been healed and we haven't addressed them yet, our subconscious creates this protective self version of us to where its goal and its job is to protect you and keep you safe and all the things. But in its attempt to do so, it actually has you doing the opposite of what you should be doing to get the results you actually want. So where, yes, it's going to do a great job of making sure no one can get in to hurt you, but it's going to do an even better job of keeping everyone out to where you can never have someone that comes in that you want to have there to love on. Second, start building earned trust slowly, not blindly. See, it's not about being able to just trust everybody, right? And be healed enough to just trust them all. No, it's about being able to trust yourself enough to be able to identify and spot when someone is not aligned with you, right? It takes way more pressure off you versus trying to say, all right, how do I trust everybody I come across? No, just be attuned with yourself and trust that you know the signs to look out for, or when they hit your radar, you'll recognize them. And if you don't feel like you would do that, then ask yourself when you're not in the middle of a experience with someone, what are the kind of things that would be red flags to you? And a great vetting system to use with this is asking yourself, how would I operate, right? Would I do these kind of things or would I not, right? If I was being a trustworthy person, what would I do? What would I not do? And then measure that against what you see other people doing that you interact with. And trust yourself that you're reading the signs well off of how you operate, as long as you can say you're a trustworthy person yourself. And let's even go a step further and say you don't feel you're a trustworthy person yourself. Well, who do you think is trustworthy? Who identifies that to you? What do you define as trustworthy? What's it look like in practice? And ask yourself, am I seeing the things in this person that says they're trustworthy? Do they resonate? Does it make sense? Does it feel right to me? Right? Trust that. And you don't have to worry about who's coming and who's going. It's either they make sense when they're in front of you or they don't. And third, redefine what commitment means to you, right? It's not about forever. It's about showing up consistently, one day at a time, one foot in front of the other. I think a lot of times when we think commitment, because yes, the idea is that it's going to be for the long term or what have you, but that long term only becomes a reality by what you do every day and every second of now, right? To keep building up to be a collective that equates to long term commitment, right? So don't, get yourself overwhelmed by thinking about all this down the road stuff. Hey, take it a day at a time and just keep showing up. You don't have to take a huge leap. You just need to lean in and keep building your comfortability to lean in while being cautiously aware of the things to look out for to let you know it's still safe to continue leaning in. You don't need to heal overnight, but you do need to stop hiding behind the "I'm just not ready" narrative, when in reality, you're just scared of giving your best and watching it be mishandled again. And that's completely understandable. But the right one that will love you the right way doesn't require a performance. They just require honesty and effort and consistency. Healing begins when you admit you're not afraid of love. You're afraid of history repeating itself, right? So you have to do your darndest job to separate and find the reasons and apply the lessons learned to show yourself where there's the difference between what's ahead of you with this person in front of you or who could be versus what's behind you in the past. Find a difference between the two so you can let go of one and start believing in your future. If you need help going on that journey and cultivating the ability to trust someone again, and also learning what to look out for and identify and build that confidence in yourself to trust someone, then email or DM me the word coaching and we will get to work, only if you're truly ready to put that work in. If you're not ready for one-on-one coaching, don't have the time, space, and maybe even the resources, then at least email or DM me the word transformation, and I'll send you the link to one of my transformation courses that'll teach you the same things I teach my clients one-on-one at your own pace, on your own time, and at a resource level that's more fit for where you are right now. Either way, do something to get in the race. Let's get it.